My friends, we're going to look at the Unit 12 test review together. Right now, what you see is the reference sheet that you will be given on the day of the exam. So you can go ahead and take a quick scan of what you see right now. And then we're going to go ahead and take a look at the test review itself. So here we go. The Test 12 review, number 1. It says, find the lateral area of the rectangular prism. So, how do I know that this figure is indeed a prism? Not a great example to, describe what a prism actually is. Let me go ahead and use this first, and then I can go ahead and explain the rectangular prism here. So, this is indeed a prism because it has two faces that are parallel, congruent to each other. And those two faces, we call them the bases of our prism. The bases of a prism are separated by the height here. This little segment is our height. Okay, it's 18. So this is a prism because the two faces are parallel and congruent to each other, separated by the height. And we call this a triangular prism because the base of the figure is a triangle. Okay? So, if I look at this is a rectangular prism. But what's so special about a rectangular prism is the fact that it has multiple bases and multiple heights. But you choose the parallel and congruent bases, one pair, right? And then the height that separates the two bases. But before I get into that, let me just explain what are the bases here, and then we're going to go ahead and pick one, okay? So this is a rectangular prism. Typically, you would see the right plane, left plane, but we don't see them. It's actually covered. So let me go ahead and just draw some dotted or dashed lines so that you can see what we're dealing with here. Okay, hopefully this is not a good whatever I'm doing right here. It's not good, but hopefully what I'm trying to say is, okay, you got a right plane here, you got a left plane here, then you have the top plane, bottom plane, and then there's the front plane, and there's the back plane. Okay, so what's the base? What's the height? So with a rectangular prism, right, you can definitely agree with me that this face and this face, they are parallel and congruent to each other. And what's the height that separates the two bases? Well, that would be 25. This is the segment that separates the two bases. Okay, so there you go, you got an example of two bases, and those bases are rectangles. But you may argue about the top plane and also the bottom plane. And what separates those two faces? This thing, number 12. That 12 centimeters separates the two bases. Okay? Yes, so you can choose that you can choose those as your basis if you want. We can also say something about the front plane and the back plane. So what separates the front and the back? Well, it'll be 18. Okay? So really, you can work with whatever you want, but I'm going to pick one so that we're all on the same page, assuming that you're going to use this review video to, go through the problems and stuff, or maybe you're checking the key. And if you're checking the key, then I'm just going to say that this is what they are going to be working with, that little rectangle here, and that rectangle is parallel and congruent to this face there. So the base of this prism, the rectangular prism, is a rectangle with dimensions, 18, 12. So 18 here, 12 there. All right? And I'm going to write rectangle. rectangle. All right, so number 1 says find the lateral area of the rectangular prism. So when you're finding the lateral area, the formula is what? Let's see, where is it? The lateral area of a prism, and look at it, it says right here, prism. The lateral area is the perimeter of the base multiplied by the height of the prism. I think it would be a good idea to, take note of that. So P is the perimeter of the base multiplied by the height of the prism. All right. So L is equal to, again, the perimeter of the base multiplied by the height of the prism. All right, so the perimeter of the base, what's the base of the figure? We said it's a rectangle. So we're talking about this one little rectangle here. The perimeter of that is, okay, we currently have 18 and 12. So if this is 18, then this side has to be 18. And then this side has to be 12. So opposite sides are congruent to each other. If I add up all the sides here, the perimeter of the base is 60. So the perimeter is 60. So I can go ahead and replace big P, capital P, with 60. Now, the height of the prism, the height of the actual prism, I'm not talking about the rectangle. I don't care about what the height of the rectangle is. That's not what H stands for the lateral area. H stands for the height of the prism. So what separates the two bases? Well, we have a base here and a base here. What separates the two? Is it 12? Nope. Is it 18? Nope. It's 25. See? It separates the two bases here. You can see that with my laser pointer. It's 25. So you're going to do 60 times 25. And the answer, if I multiply, you're going to get L equals 1,500 square centimeters, okay? So we're dealing with centimeters, and you're going to square because we're dealing with what? Area. Area is always squared. Number 2, find the surface area of the rectangular prism. Okay, so what's the surface area formula? For a prism, it's the lateral area, which you found earlier, plus 2 times the area of the base, okay? So what's the base? It's that rectangle. When you look at that rectangle, you're going to find the area of that two-dimensional object. So capital B means area of the base. Remember that. Capital B is the area of the base. So you're looking at the base, which is a rectangle. What's the area formula for a rectangle? Let me go ahead and look up. Let's see. Where's my formula chart? Or where does it say? It's this one. A rectangle is considered a parallelogram. You're going to say base times the height. Now, I want to make sure that we're all clear. It's the base of the rectangle multiplied by the height of the rectangle, not the prism. So you do not put 25 here. You do not replace H with 25. You're going to say, okay, let's go back. It's going to be A equals the base of the rectangle multiplied by the height of the rectangle. The base is 18, and then the height is just 12. So 18 times 12 is 216. I just multiplied those two numbers. I put those numbers into my calculator. You get 216. So, all right, let me go ahead and just look at number 2. Again, it says find the surface area. It's L equals the perimeter of the base multiplied by the height of the prism plus 2 times the area of the base. Just like you see over here. All right, so what was the perimeter times the height of this prism, that same prism? Well, what did we say? We said it was 1,500, right? So I don't need to calculate all this stuff again. The lateral area is 1,500. I made a mistake. This L should be surface area, by the way. So it should just be S or SA. S, 1,500 is equal, or S is equal to 1,500 plus 2 times the area of the base. Again, capital B means the area of this two-dimensional object, which we said was 216. Okay, so let me go ahead and use my highlighter so you understand what's going on. the perimeter times the height is 1500, right? Plus 2 times the area of the base. So we don't do anything with the 2. And then the area of the base was me using this. So if I calculate, I'm going to get 1,932 square centimeters. That's my answer. And we're dealing with area here, yes? Okay, and then lastly, number 3, find the volume of the rectangular prism. Again, we're dealing with prisms here. Volume. Okay, so here's the prism formula. Or sorry, here's the prism, the shape. The volume of a prism is V equals the area of the base multiplied by the height of the prism. Okay, let's write that. Area of the base multiplied by the height of the prism. Height of the prism, okay? So V, the volume, is equal to the area of the base multiplied by the height of the prism. What's the area of the base? Well, it's the area of the rectangle. We said it was 216. So it's 216 multiplied by the height of the prism. What's the segment that separates the two bases? 25. That's how long the segment is. 25. All right, 216 times 25. Multiply those two numbers, you get 5,400. Now, here, you gotta think, I'm dealing with volume here. What's the correct unit? You would say cubic centimeters. When you see the word volume, you need to make sure that this gets cubed, or you raise it to the 3rd power. All right, so that's 1, 2, and 3. Let's take a look at number 4. That triangular prism, we've already talked about what the bases are. And it's also, yes, listen, y'all. It's also in the name, triangular prism. Okay? So if you look at this figure, the bases are triangles. These things here, so that, bottom plane and this front plane here and the back plane, those are not triangles. So do not assume, number 1, do not assume that this is the base of the figure. Just because it's sitting like this is not the base of the figure. No. All right, find the lateral area of the triangular prism. What did we say? That's the formula, right? So the lateral area is equal to the perimeter of the base multiplied by the height of the prism. So it's a triangle, and we can safely assume that this is a right triangle. That's really weird that the square is, dotted there, but yes, this is a right triangle. So I'm going to draw the 2-dimensional base, or the base that's 2-dimensional, which is a right triangle. It has, dimensions of 12 and 9. And I gotta find the perimeter of the base here. Again, it's a right triangle. So, if I'm finding the perimeter of this triangle, I have to add up all the sides. That would be 9 plus 12 plus what? Okay, so, again, you are dealing with perimeter. You have to have all the sides, and if you have all the sides, you can add them. That's how you find the perimeter. But we only have, again, 9 and 12. We're dealing with the right triangle. That means we're going to be using the Pythagorean theorem. So a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. This has to be c because it's across from the 90-degree angle. So 9 squared plus 12 squared equals c squared. Now, this is where I'm like, okay, I gotta take the square root on both sides, and then input. Okay, I'm gonna get my calculator out. It's telling me to press yes or no or something like that. I'm gonna input the square root of 9 squared plus 12 squared, and please just put it all in your calculator. And don't assume that, okay, you have 9 squared plus 12 squared, that the square root just gets rid of the two 2's here. Don't assume that. That's not how it works. C is equal to 15. So if C is equal to 15, then the hypotenuse here is 15, and I can go ahead and add up all the sides here. So it's 9 plus 12 plus 15. And what do you get? 36. Okay, so the perimeter is 36. So I can replace the capital P with 36 there. Now what? The height. So H again, remember, H is, if I'm looking at the right triangle, H is indeed the height of the right triangle if you're trying to find the area. Okay? But this H, once again, it's just like everything else we've been doing. This H is the height of the prism, the segment that separates the two bases. So these are the two bases. What separates the two? It's 18. So you're going to put 18 there. So once again, H is the segment that separates the two bases. H is not that H. Okay? So when you see, we're dealing with area, sometime soon, or actually we're going to do that right now. Let me go ahead and just do 36 times 18. 36 times 18 is 648 square centimeters, okay? And then find the surface area of the lateral prism. So surface area is equal to the perimeter times the height. So the perimeter of the base multiplied by the height of the prism plus 2 times the area of the base. So we already figured out what the perimeter times the height is. It's 648 plus 2 times the area of the base. So what's the area, or what's the base, and what's the area formula for that? It's not a rectangle like we had before. It's a triangle. So the formula is A equals 1/2 base times the height. Height referring to the height of the triangle this time. Not H, this H. What I'm trying to say is that this H here and this H here are two different things. This one is the height of the prism, and then this formula is referring to the height of the triangle itself. So that's why I'm going to use notations here just now so that you can see that differentiation. So 1/2 times the base is what? 12 multiplied by the height of the triangle. That's 9. So 1/2 of 12, that's 6. 6 times 9 is 54. So the area is 54. And that's what capital B is. It's the area of the base. So I replace B with 54. So 2 times 54 here. Okay, so 2, and then replace capital B with 54. That's going to, so if I put this into my calculator, you get 756 square centimeters. And then the volume is the area of the base multiplied by the height of the prism. Did we figure out the area of the base? Yes, we did. It's over here. It's 54. We did A equals 1/2 the base of the triangle multiplied by the height of the triangle. It's 54. And then this height, this H, is it this H here? No, H again is the height of the prism, the segment that separates the two bases. It's 18. So 54 times 18, you get 972 centimeters cubed because you're dealing with volume. All right? Number 7, find the lateral area of the cylinder. You're going to leave your answer in terms of pi. Okay, so find the lateral area of the cylinder. A cylinder falls under the category of a prism. But you actually have a specific formula here. So we have the lateral area of a cylinder, the surface area of a cylinder, and also the volume formula for a cylinder. So if I want to find the lateral area, It's 2 times pi times r times h. All right, let's go back to the basics. Okay, here we go. What's the base of the figure? It's a circle. The shape of the base is a circle, which has a diameter of 20.4. 20.4. That's our diameter there. That's D. And then what separates the two bases? Okay, so again, let's go back. These two things are your bases. What separates the two circles? 24. Okay, so highlight the two bases, and then this is your height, 24. And then, okay, that's equal to 2 times pi. The radius is, okay, half of the diameter. That's 10.2. Okay, so 20.4 divided by 2 is 10.2. All right, so 10.2. And the height, what separates the two circles? 22. Okay, so when you give your answer, you need to make sure that you leave your answer in terms of pi. Those are just more when you have, or when you're dealing with circles here. You are dealing with circles, so leave your answer in terms of pi. So what do? You multiply the 2, the 10.2, and the 22 together. Okay, so I'm gonna put all that into my calculator. 2 times 10.2 times 22. You get 448.8. And then this is where you're going to slap on the pi. That's what it means to leave your answer in terms of pi. So you put pi there. And don't forget your units. We're dealing with centimeters, so you put centimeters squared. Okay, so you're going to raise that to the second power. Now, the surface area includes the two bases. So the lateral area is equal to 2 pi RH plus 2 times the area of the base. We already figured out what 2 pi RH was, which is this. So it's 448.8 pi plus 2 times the area of the bases. Y'all, I'm going to replace, the area of the base. Y'all, the base is a circle. The area of the circle formula, the area of a circle is pi r squared, right? So I can just go ahead and replace this capital B with pi r squared. So it's 2 times pi r squared. So yeah, 2 pi. What's the radius again? I forgot. 10.2. 10.2 quantity squared. All I did here was I replaced r with 10.2. We set the radius is 10.2. All right. What do I do here? Let's focus on this part here. I'm going to figure out what 10.2 the quantity squared is. 10.2 the quantity squared. It's 104.04. Hopefully you're doing this with your calculator too. Just a good exercise so you know how to use your calculator on the day of the exam. So you got 104.04, and then we're gonna multiply that, whatever this is, right? It's 104.04. You're gonna multiply that by 2, and you get 208.08 pi. Don't forget that pi. And then we're going to go ahead and bring this down. 448.8 pi. Now, look at this. You got 448.8 pi plus 208.08 pi. How many pi's are there? Just think, if you have 2 dogs plus 3 dogs, you're going to say there are 5 dogs in total. So, how many pi's do I have in total? That's going to be equal to, oh boy, 2,288.88 pi. That's how many pi's there are. What do you put? What's the unit? Oh wait, no, this is wrong. I'm so sorry. This is absolutely wrong. I'm looking ahead here. I'm looking at the key, and I put the volume answer instead of the surface area. It's actually 656.88 pi square centimeters. We square because we're still dealing with area. All right, so now let's take a look at the volume. The volume is going to be what? The area of the base multiplied by the height of the prism. Did we figure out the area of the base? Did we? I don't think we did. Nah, we did. I didn't specify it, but let's do it again. So the area of the base, or the area of the circle, it's pi r squared, yes? So a equals pi r squared. The radius is 10.2, the quantity squared. And you get 104.04 pi. So that's what B is, 104.04 pi. And then the height of the prism, what separates the two circles again? 22. All right, so leave your answer in terms of pi here. So you're going to multiply, the number by that number. Okay, so 104.04 multiplied by 22, you get 2,288.88. Don't forget that pi there. And then, square, nope. Do I square this? It's volume. Cubic centimeters. There you go. There you go. All right, that's the first page of the test review. Super exciting. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next page in the next video.